The moment you stop observing the crowd and start examining your own reflection, your entire world transforms. The constant hum of comparison quiets, replaced by a profound stillness that emerges only when your gaze is locked on your personal journey. Life ceases to be a competition and becomes a dedicated practice. So many exhaust themselves chasing validation and measuring their worth against others, but those who turn their focus inward, they ascend on a different current. They operate with a quiet power, driven not by external praise, but by a deep internal alignment. They understand that true mastery isn't born from looking sideways, but from a devoted, daily commitment to their own evolution. When you pour your energy into yourself, you grasp its sacred nature. Every moment spent worrying about another's progress is a moment drained from your own mission. The disciplined don't leak this power. They channel it inward, honing their abilities, fortifying their mindset, and sculpting their character. This isn't self-absorption, it's self-sovereignty. The greatest battle you will ever fight is within the quiet of your own mind. Lao Tzu wisely said that knowing others is intelligence, but knowing yourself is true wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." These voices all point to one profound truth. Your most significant conquest is an internal one. And in the next few minutes, you will discover how to master this internal focus, how to construct an unshakable quiet confidence, and how to let your progress resonate in silence. First, release the habit of comparison. Have you ever calculated the mental energy expended by watching others' lives? When you constantly benchmark your journey against someone else's, you blur the vision of your own unique strengths. Comparing your path to another's is like trying to run forward while staring to the side. You will inevitably lose your balance. This happens because every individual has a distinct starting line and a different set of innate talents. A strategy that worked for them might be a mismatch for you. By focusing on their route, you neglect the ground you've already covered. Your own gifts become obscured by anxiety and insecurity. You start to feel inadequate because another person appears to be ahead, but you're only seeing their highlight reel, never the full story. Consider two saplings growing in different conditions. One is in fertile soil with ample sun, the other fights through rocky earth with little rain. Should the second sapling feel ashamed for growing more slowly? Absolutely not. Each plant does the best it can with what it has. Your life operates on the same principle. Your circumstances are uniquely yours. Judging your midpoint against someone else's finale is illogical. The method to break this cycle is straightforward, but requires consistency. Each morning, identify one aspect of yourself you wish to enhance. Jot it down. In the evening, reflect on whether you took a step toward that aim. Keep your attention on your own work, as the old saying goes. Ask yourself, am I better today than I was yesterday? That is the only comparison that holds any weight. Did you acquire new knowledge? Did you face a challenge? Did you choose compassion over indifference? These reflections illuminate your genuine growth. When you abandon comparison, a weight lifts. You breathe more deeply. You have more vitality for your own creations because you're not siphoning it off to fret about others. You begin to acknowledge your own small triumphs. You take pride in a job well done even if it goes unnoticed. Your self-assurance builds from the inside, independent of being superior to anyone else. Abraham Lincoln faced numerous defeats before his presidency. He lost campaigns, battled melancholy, and was met with constant disapproval. But he didn't waste his days obsessing over his contemporary successes. Instead, he studied law by firelight and practiced his oration. He read voraciously. He delivered speeches to tiny audiences. His focus was on self-improvement, day by day. That unwavering focus altered the course of his life and history. He became a monumental leader not by defeating rivals, but by persistently bettering himself.
Second, define your personal ambitions. What do you authentically desire from your existence? Many pursue goals that aren't truly their own, targets set by family or societal expectations. This creates an internal emptiness, like consuming a meal with no flavor. You might achieve these borrowed objectives and still feel unfulfilled, looking around and wondering why the success feels hollow. Your goals must originate from your core. They should spark excitement when you contemplate them. Another person's ambitions will never provide deep satisfaction because they were not designed for your spirit. When you labor towards something you genuinely care about, the effort feels different. It's still demanding, but it feels purposeful. You wake up eager to continue. You find yourself thinking about it during the day. You feel drawn forward, not pushed. How can you discern if a goal is truly yours? Interrogate your motivation. If the answer is because it's what people expect or for respect, then it likely isn't yours. If the answer is because it ignites me or I feel called to do this, then it probably springs from your authentic self. True goals connect to a profound internal driver. They align with who you are, not who you're supposed to be. Begin by asking what activities make you feel most alive. What would you do even without applause? What did you love as a child before concepts of practicality took over? Write these answers down. Create small, manageable objectives that lead toward them. Disregard skeptics. They don't live your life. They won't feel the sting of your regret if you abandon your dreams to follow theirs. Setting your own path demands courage. People may challenge your decisions. They might say you're making an error. But remember, they're viewing your life through the lens of their own fears and aspirations. They cannot perceive your vision. You are the sole authority on what gives your life meaning. Thomas Edison was determined to create illumination without flame. Many called him a fool. They said it was impossible. He encountered thousands of failures. Each one provided a new lesson, but the goal was his, and he believed in it completely. He refused to let critics persuade him to quit or switch to their ideas. His singular focus on his personal vision gifted the world with electric light. Imagine if he had heeded the doubters. We might still be in darkness. His self-defined goal altered reality for all of humanity. That is the potency of pursuing what truly calls to you. Third, identify your core principles. Envision a mighty tree with deep, anchoring roots. It remains upright through storms because it knows where it stands. Your values are those roots. They define what is most significant to you. Without a clear set of values, you sway with every passing opinion. You feel conflicted and adrift because you lack a foundation. Values are your fundamental beliefs about what is right and meaningful. One individual might prize compassion above all. Another might hold integrity or diligence as paramount. There are no incorrect answers, but you must discover your own answers, not just echo what you've been told. Your values should resonate as truth in your spirit, not just your intellect. When you live in accordance with your real values, you feel solid and complete. When you violate them, you feel unsettled, even if you can't articulate why. Dedicate quiet time to recall moments when you felt a deep sense of pride. What were you doing? What decision did you make? These moments are clues to your core values. Perhaps you felt proud when you were truthful, despite an easier lie being available. That indicates you value honesty. Perhaps you felt proud when you aided someone who could offer nothing in return. That reveals a value of generosity. Your proudest memories are signposts to your true beliefs. Once you know your values, decision-making becomes clearer. You simply ask, does this choice align with my principles? Should you accept a high-paying job that requires you to compromise your ethics? If you value integrity, the answer is obvious. Should you remain silent about an injustice to avoid conflict? If you value courage, you know what action to take. Your values act as your moral compass, guiding you toward choices that allow you to maintain self-respect. Understanding your values also helps you relate to others. You recognize they have different guiding principles, and that's acceptable. You cease being upset when someone makes a choice you wouldn't. They are following their own compass, not yours. This brings a profound peace. You don't require universal agreement. You only need to remain true to yourself. Rosa Parks held a deep value for dignity and equality. Her refusal to surrender her bus seat was an act of alignment with her core principles. Others had different opinions about her actions. Some believed she should be patient. Some accused her of stirring trouble. But she knew, unequivocally, what was right for her. That clarity gave her the strength to ignite a movement. She did not second-guess herself. She knew. That is the power of understanding your own values. They make you resilient when the world pressures you to yield.
Fourth, cultivate your unique capabilities. What can you do now that you couldn't a year ago? When you concentrate on expanding your own skill set, a shift occurs. Envy diminishes. Stagnation disappears. Each day presents an opportunity for enhancement. You awaken knowing you possess the agency to become more competent, more adept, more self-assured than before. Skills are proficiencies developed through dedicated practice. Everyone begins as a novice. The person who appears gifted has usually just logged more hours of practice unseen. They stumbled repeatedly when no one was watching. They felt frustration, but they persisted. When you focus on building your own skills, you seize control of your destiny. You become less reliant on chance or the assistance of others. You know you can acquire the knowledge you need. Select one skill you wish to develop. Perhaps you want to write more eloquently. Perhaps you want to lead meetings without anxiety. Perhaps you want to grow your own food or understand mechanics. Choose something that genuinely interests you, something you care about. Don't select a skill based on someone else's agenda. Practice it for a brief period daily. Even 15 minutes creates compound growth over weeks and months. Don't concern yourself with the learning speed of others. Your only task is to improve upon your former self. Can you write a clearer sentence than last week? Can you present an idea for 1 minute without trembling when before you could only manage 10 seconds? Can you prepare a simple meal without error when before you always burned it? These minor victories are critical. They are evidence of your development. Track your progress in a journal. Note what you practiced and what became easier. Celebrate incremental improvements. They are the foundation of mastery. When you build skills this way, you forge a confidence that is irrevocable. Someone might possess greater wealth or better networks, but they cannot take away your learned abilities. Your skills are a permanent part of you. They accompany you everywhere. They enable you to solve challenges and create value. They make you resourceful and capable. This sense of capability is more valuable than any external possession. Benjamin Franklin desired to become a superior writer. He would read excellent prose, then attempt to recreate it from memory. He would compare his version to the original to identify areas for improvement. He did this work alone, competing only with his previous attempts. He didn't fret over other writers' achievements. He just worked diligently at getting better. This focused, consistent effort made him one of the most influential writers of his era. His words helped forge a nation, all because he committed to building one skill through steady, intentional practice. Fifth, have faith in your own judgment. How often do you reverse a decision because someone expresses doubt? When you perpetually seek validation for every choice, you surrender your personal power. You become a feather in the wind. Trusting yourself means believing in your capacity to handle the outcomes. It means respecting your own discernment enough to act on it. This is crucial because you will live with the results of your decisions, not your advisors. They can move on. You cannot. When you trust your judgment, you learn from both successes and missteps. You develop wisdom. When you only follow others, you never cultivate your own insight. You remain dependent, always needing external direction. That is not a recipe for a full life. Trusting yourself doesn't mean dismissing all counsel. Wise individuals listen to perspectives. They collect data. They inquire. But after listening, they make their own choice. They weigh the input against their self-knowledge. They consider their values and ambitions. Then they decide, and they own that decision entirely. Practice making minor decisions without consulting others. Choose a meal or an outfit without a poll. Observe that most choices turn out fine. Even when they don't, you endure and learn. As your confidence builds, trust yourself with more significant decisions. Should you pursue this opportunity or that one? Should you voice your opinion or listen? Should you venture into the unknown or stay with the familiar? Solicit advice if you wish, but let your inner voice have the final say. What occurs when you make an incorrect decision? You gain invaluable experience. You learn what doesn't work. You receive feedback from life itself, not just theories. This process cultivates wisdom. People who never trust themselves never acquire this wisdom. They avoid errors by avoiding decisions, but they also avoid growth. You cannot build strength without resistance. You cannot become wise without making some choices that have unfavorable results. I know an individual who longed to study art. Everyone advised him to pick a practical field. Study engineering, they said. Study law. Art won't support you. He felt paralyzed for months. He created endless lists. He sought more and more opinions. Finally, he realized he alone would inhabit the life born from his choice. He trusted his instinct and pursued art. Years later, he creates and teaches, and he loves his work. He greets each day with purpose. The doubters have long since moved on to other concerns. They don't recall advising him to abandon his passion.
But he would have always remembered if he had listened. Your journey is valid, not despite its struggles, but because of them. Sixth, acknowledge your own growth. Do you delay feeling accomplished until someone else recognizes your efforts? Many people do. They strive, then feel deflated when there is no external applause. This robs them of their joy. Your progress belongs to you first. You should be your own primary supporter. You should be the first to notice when you excel. Progress means forward motion, even in microscopic steps. When you celebrate your own advancement, you generate the energy to persist. Waiting for outside validation creates dependency and often leads to emptiness. Others are preoccupied with their own lives. They may not see your hard work. They may not comprehend the effort involved. Should their inattention diminish your achievement? Of course not. You know the truth of your accomplishment. Maintain a record of your starting point and your current position. Each week, document one thing you did better. Perhaps you demonstrated patience where you once would have reacted with anger. Perhaps you completed a project you'd been avoiding. Perhaps you offered kindness in a situation that called for pettiness. Review this log when you feel disheartened. It provides tangible proof of how far you've traveled. The list doesn't deceive. It shows real evolution. Give yourself credit. Say the words, "I did well." It may feel awkward initially. We are conditioned to be modest, to await external praise. But there is a distinction between arrogance and acknowledging your own diligent work. You are not claiming superiority over others. You are simply recognizing that you have improved. That merits acknowledgement. Mark your milestones with a small personal reward. Visit a place you love. Engage in a special activity. You don't require permission to feel proud. You've earned it. Celebrating your own progress alters your self-perception. Instead of feeling like a failure who sometimes gets things right, you see yourself as a person in constant evolution. This identity shift is powerful. It grants you the courage to tackle greater challenges. It helps you recover from setbacks more rapidly. You think, I've overcome so much already, I can handle this new obstacle. Your past progress becomes evidence of your future potential. Helen Keller was both blind and deaf, yet she mastered communication and literacy. Imagine the immense difficulty of every tiny step. Learning that specific hand shapes corresponded to ideas. Each small breakthrough must have felt monumental. She did not wait for the world to applaud each victory. She felt the joy of her own progress as she connected symbols to meanings. That internal celebration propelled her through immense obstacles. She became one of the most learned and influential people of her time because she honored her own growth at every stage. Your path is uniquely yours, with lessons no one else will learn in the same way. When you value your own journey, you stop wishing for another's life. You understand that every struggle and victory has shaped you. This is the essence of focusing on yourself. If this perspective shifted something for you today, please support this channel by liking this video and subscribing to Winds of Thought for more content to guide your inner journey.